Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review, and next up is the Hasbro Marvel Legends series X-Men House of X Tri-Sentinel Build-A-Figure. This is Charles Xavier, because it says Charles Xavier right there. I know you can't tell because it's in Krakoan, but Charles Xavier, there we have it. Side artwork looking very interesting of this particular design for Charles Xavier. Looking at the back of the package, we get some other artwork there as well, and we actually get this pink effect piece that actually goes around. So that would have been cool if they would have included something like that, but we get a different effect piece, which is pretty cool. Now, Charles Xavier's bio reads, Xavier reveals his master plan, one that will bring mutants out of humankind's shadow and once again into the light. So I did watch a video going over the entire storyline of House of X, and it does sound pretty interesting. So it's a very different take on X-Men, while not completely getting rid of all the previous history of X-Men, but kind of making some changes going forward. So again, pretty interesting. I forgot to talk about it there, but there are the figures in the wave. We've already looked at Wolverine, which did not include a Build-A-Figure piece for the Tri-Sentinel, but here we're kicking it off with Charles Xavier. So let's get this opened up and take a closer look. Okay, so here is the Charles Xavier figure out of the package. Let's first take a look at the accessories that he comes with, which isn't a whole lot, but there are some things. So first, we have the right arm. Is it the right arm? Is it kind of all turned around? The right arm, is that right? The hand's like turned funky. So we have the right arm for the Tri-Sentinel, the Theta Sentinel, and this really kind of reminds me of the SPDR Build-A-Figure, if the Spider-Man wave from a while ago. I know it's different, but it just really kind of reminds me, and kind of some of the proportions, the long, thin arms and things like that. So it'll be pretty interesting. I think the Build-A-Figure looks great, so we'll get to that at the end of all these videos. We get one set of extra interchangeable hands. So here for his left hand we have this pointing finger, and here for his right hand we have the two-fingered out, so he can use that and kind of put it up to his temple as if he's, you know, using his mind kind of thing. But we also get this interchangeable head, which is pretty cool. So here we have Charles Xavier. His eyes are closed. It's not that Hasbro messed up and didn't paint in his eyes. The eyes are closed, but we get this cool effect piece here that's glued on, that's like pegged in and then glued on to the back of the head, and that is actually really cool. I really like the way that looks, because it looks like, you know, he's using his powers of telepathy, or telepathy, right? Yeah, so he's using his mind powers there, so that is pretty cool. So we'll swap that out, and then we'll also stick this on the writer's version of Charles Xavier's with the hover chair. So I think that will look pretty good, because in this particular storyline, this is how Charles Xavier looks. He actually is wearing Cerebra. I believe it's Cerebra, not Cerebro. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong there, but I believe that is what it is. That is the thing that he's wearing. Why he is constantly wearing it, I don't entirely know. Based on the video that I watched talking about the entire House of X storyline, wasn't real clear on that. They didn't dive deep into that, so if you guys let me know down in the comments below. But it is crazy detailed on the back of it, and not even necessarily on the front. So it's pretty plain. We get a blue X there, but we got these hoses, and then it's just kind of crazy detailed in the back and the top of the helmet. So that is actually really cool. You know, usually Hasbro really cheapens out and doesn't do a whole lot for the back of figures, in the back of things. But look at all that damn detail in there. That is nice. Nicely done, Hasbro. Very cool. The figure itself, though, is super plain. There's nothing to it. Like, it's literally just this dark gray body. I know it kind of looks black in the video, but it's just dark gray. It is the Pizza Spider-Man mold, which isn't a bad mold. It's just the, you know, the super thin legs. So I guess it's a good buck. But the thing about it is if you look at the comics for this particular version of Charles Xavier, there's some details, and it's ever so slightly, but it's usually a couple of lines that go throughout his suit, and we didn't get that at all. This is just a plain ass body. Now, it's good fodder for customizers because they have this body that's in this dark color with literally no other details or any paint on it, so they could do all kinds of things. But it's a little unfortunate. I wish we would have gotten at least those painted lines in there, so it would help stand out and look like something. Otherwise, it's just kind of plain looking. But the head sculpt is really cool. It is. So let's pop that off, the Cerebra, and we'll pop this version on there. Now, I don't know if in that particular House of X storyline, if he ever actually removes Cerebro or Cerebra from his head or not. But if he does, then I would imagine he would still look the same. But there, that is, so it has that look to it, and that's cool. But it looks kind of funky on this body. So if we zoom out, right, the body just looks kind of funky without him wearing Cerebra. It's just kind of weird looking. So that's why we definitely need the hover chair version of Professor X, Charles Xavier, because then I think it'll look really cool. So we're going to take this figure out of this hover chair. We're going to pop the head off. And we're going to pop this head on. And I'm scared I'm actually going to break that effect piece because of how you kind of have to grip the head. But, boom, like so. One thing, skin tone doesn't really match too well. It's kind of more of a yellowish peach color compared to this little bit more realistic skin tone color. As you can see, kind of the differences between the two. So that's one thing, but it's not that big of a deal. So if you have your Charles Xavier, or if this is your go-to Professor X, which I think it's going to be for a lot of folks, since, you know, I guess we don't actually have very many Professor X figures. So if you're going to do it, you have that, and that looks awesome. I really like the way this looks. So this effect piece works perfectly. You can, the skin tone thing, yeah, it doesn't even match the hands, but you can kind of fudge it. I think it works. So that is actually really cool. I'm not one to kit bash, but this might be something that I leave on my shelf. Just like that. But who am I kidding? I'm probably not, because my OCD will go crazy, but it does look really cool. Okay, so going over the articulation for Charles Xavier. So with the helmeted head, he can look down like so. The head can move up as if he's looking up. You get the full rotation in there, of course. Not a whole lot of pivot, but you get some. Shoulder can go up that high. You get a full rotation in there. We get butterfly joints, so you can get the shoulder to go back only so far. You can get it to move forward a little bit as well, so you can get some crossbody going on there. We have an upper bicep swivel. You get a double jointed elbow like so. Wrist swivel, and they do hinge. We have an ab crunch, so you can crunch forward that much, not a whole lot. It goes back. Mine does not want to go back, and I really don't feel like forcing it, so that's a little unfortunate there. Waist swivel, his legs go out that far apart, which I feel like they should come out a little bit more, but that is all the motion that I'm getting. He can kick forward extremely high though, and it goes back a little bit. You got an upper thigh cut in there, a double jointed knee, which really works well. No calf swivel or anything like that, but you get a foot that hinges down, hinges up quite a bit, ankle pivot, and peg holes at the bottom of the feet. So articulation on this guy, it should be better for what it is, but I just really hate the super thin legs on this guy. But there we go. But super plain body again. I just wish there was a little bit of added detail to it. Okay, the two figures in the wave so far, we have Wolverine and Charles Xavier. We are moving through the wave. It's probably going to take me one video per day. I know in the past, I used to do multiple videos. I'm just really not able to do so much anymore. But there it is. So let's get my final thought. Okay, so my final thoughts. It's a very plain figure that Hasbro just dropped the ball in putting in and adding the little bit of paint details for his suit. Now, from afar, I mean, from artwork, you can kind of see that there's not a whole lot of detail into it, so it's easy for Hasbro to do this, and maybe that's what helped kind of cost out and budget out the wave to where some of these figures actually include some nice accessories. This figure kind of gets a little bit of that sacrifice, although we do get this awesome interchangeable head, which has that mind effect piece to it, so that is actually a really cool, nice touch that I do really like. And for the most part, he is pretty accurate to how he looks, minus the little bit of detail. It is a very interesting storyline that I think a lot of people were really fans of. I may go out and get a trade booked so I could read the entire storyline myself. But it does seem pretty interesting, pretty cool that we actually got this figure. I believe the cover of issue #1, all those characters on there are basically this wave. So that is also definitely a nice touch. You know, we don't get a lot of Charles Xavier figures, so it's nice to kind of get this version. The detail of Cerebra, again, is done really, really nicely, so that is really cool. But there it is. So you guys let me know down in the comments below what you think of the House of X storyline. What do you think of this Charles Xavier figure? What do you think of Charles Xavier in that story? Let me know down in the comments below. If you guys like this video, please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. And as always, thank you for watching.